over in the Championship, of course, after Bournemouth dropped points against bottom of the table Derby County. What's going to happen in the next round of matches over in the Championship? We'll take a little look now. Prediction video today with a forward match number 19 over in the Championship, and we'll get to that in just one second. If you're new, where you been, smash your subscribe and hit your back today. All things Championship related, Blackburn Rovers related, woo, football related, we've got it all here, boys. No one, Rooski, that's right, Bournemouth. Bit of a clanger there, dropping, of course, points against Derby County, of course, to open up the doors for Fulham. But, of course, is anyone going to challenge those top two spots? Of course, we'll take a look at it in a minute. Of course, big shout out to my VIPs. Who were they? They're the Patreons, boys. Thank you for continuing support behind the scenes as we try to push the channel up to another level. But anyway, we're going to get the deep end right now. Of course, take a little look back. Of course, the last weekend matches before we kick on forward to the midweek games, which, of course, take place tomorrow. So here we go. Alrighty then, let's take a look back, of course, last around those matches then, shall we? Here we go. Kicking all off with Bristol City against Blackburn Rovers. Ended up as a 1-1 draw, point split right down the middle. Could not complain. Meanwhile, Derby County did beat Bournemouth 3-2 in the end. Big result for them, even though they looked doomed after, of course, those points deduction put them in a bit of trouble. Fulham did beat Barnsley 4-1. Of course, 2-0 win was my pick. Middlesbrough picked up first result with Chris Wilder in charge, 1-1 in the end. Reading, of course, drew also with Forest, of course, 1-1 as well. Also 6 points deduction for them as well, put them in a bit of bother for the moment. Meanwhile, Huddersfield, of course, picked up 1 over West Brom. Of course, they've hit a bit of a rough patch right now. Hull City picked up a 2-1 win over Birmingham. Of course, 2-1 win was my pick. Preston North End did lose to Cardiff City. Of course, they've started their rebound with, of course, Morrison in charge over there. QPR picked up a 2-1 win over Luton Town to keep their playoff dream well on track. Sheffield United still stuttering, of course, up against Coventry City, 0-0 draw in the end. Stoke City picked up a 2-1 win over Peterborough to keep their dream alive for playoffs as well. And Swansea and Blackpool, 1-1 draw right there in the end. So, as you can see, a load of picks there. I can't man up. 1, 2, 3, 4 for me. Absolutely terrible. But of course, Fulham lead the charge at the moment, 41 points on the board. Bournemouth are in second, 40 points. West Brom are in trouble right now. I don't think they're nailed on at the moment for, of course, playoff. I think they're going to start to drop down the pecking order. Because they're only a couple of points adrift of falling out of the playoffs, so not great for them. Just 1 win in the past 4 games for them. Anyway, let's take a look at that, of course, at the prediction league, of course, for this week and this week alone. Your man, kick your name, is Kevin, kicking ass and taking name, 7 points there on the board for him, and then a whole bunch of years of win second spot. As for the grand scheme of things, well, here it comes, kicking ass, taking it is Max Sangani with 99 points on the board, Hans Worst, and then Alex Weller make up the power 3 over in, of course, and Vincent Hong is also in there as well. So a very, very tight leaderboard over in the Championship, but of course, we'll see how they all pan out this week in a double match week over in the Championship. That's right, of course, you want to get involved, Cutley / Championship. So there you go. So let's kick on forward then, shall we? Of course, take a look at the next round matches. Kicking all off with Blackpool up against West Bromwich Albion, of course, locking horns on Tuesday night. Now, these two sides, of course, played each other 7 times in 2007. 2 wins for Blackpool, 5 wins for West Brom, and 0 draws. Of course, Blackpool coming to just 1 defeat by 6 games, 67% form, however, without a win in 3. Up against West Brom, just 1 win in 4 games, and then 42% form for them at the moment. Of course, last time I was in Blackpool was in FA Cup back in January 2021. Of course, it was a 3-2 win for Blackpool. Last time played in the Premier League over in Bluefield Rovers, 2-1 win as well for Blackpool. That's back in November 2010. Of course, Blackpool did draw with Swansea last round. Of course, West Brom did lose to Huddersfield. Of course, look at the odds. 14-5 is your host on this one. Even Stevens is your West Brom. 25 is your draw. For me, going to go with a 1-1 draw myself on this one. Another drop points for West Brom. Next up, we've got Coventry City up against Birmingham. Of course, taking place on the 23rd of November. Played each other 14 times since 2001. Of course, last time around, Coventry were playing their games at Birmingham. However, they'll play each other at the Rico this time around. Of course, they have 50% form for Coventry, winning 3 of the 14 games, 6 wins for Birmingham and 5 draws. So Birmingham is just 1 win in fact, 1 defeat past 5 for them, 50% form up against Birmingham, and back-to-back defeats for them, 58% form for them right now. Of course, last time out over in Coventry or slash Birmingham was a 0-0 draw. That's back in November 2020. Of course, Coventry did draw with Sheffield United last time round. Of course, they also Birmingham did lose to Hull City last time round. Look at the odds on this one. What do we have with the odds? Odds go in favour of Coventry, 43 on for the victory, 54 is your away win. That's Birmingham, and 35 is your draw. For me, going to go with a win for Coventry on it, 2-1 win to keep their playoff dream alive. That's, of course, this year's Barnsley. That's right. Fulham will entertain entertained derby, of course, on Wednesday night. This one, of course, now these two sides have played each other 19 times since 2001, 6 wins for Fulham. We've got 5 wins of derby, and we've got 8 draws, of course. Fulham coming to this 100% form winning, of course, the last 6 on the spin. Up against Derby County with just 1 win in the past 6 games, 42% form for Wayne Rooney's boys. Of course, last time out over in Craven Cottage was a 3-0 win for Fulham. That's back in November 2019. The away side hasn't won this game since Fulham beat Derby in the playoffs. Back in March 2018. Of course, Fulham picked up a 4-1 win over Barnsley. That was back in November 2021. Of course, Derby picked up a 3-2 win over Bournemouth last time around. Of course, look at the odds. 7-2 as you're following the area. Red hot favourites. 9-1 is your draw on this one. 92 is your draw. 91 is your away win. That's Derby County. They ain't going to win, are they? 3-0 win for Fulham. Of course, they look good, don't they? Criminally good. And next, of course, we have Middlesbrough up against Preston North End, the Riverside. Of course, this game will take place on Tuesday. Now, these two sides, of course, play each other 18 times in 2006. 10 wins for Middlesbrough, 2 wins for Preston, and 6 draws. Of course, Middlesbrough coming to this without winning 4 games, 50% form for them right now. Up against Preston, 2 wins the past 6 games, 33% form for them right now. Of course, that's around over the Riverside was a 2-0 win for Middlesbrough. That's back in March 2021. Of course, Borough picked up a 1-1 draw against Millwall last round. Of course, Preston did lose to Cardiff last round. Look at the odds. 21-20 is your Borough. 14-5 is your Preston. 23-10 is your draw. I'm going with a 2-1 for Borough. That'll be Chris Wilder's first win in charge. Next, of course, Nottingham Forest up against Luton Town down at the City Ground again on Tuesday night. Now, these two sides have played each other 9 times since 1983. 5 wins for Forest, 3 wins for Luton, and 1 draw. Forest come to just 1 win in the past 5 games for them. 58% form. Drawing a lot of games right now. Up against Luton Town, just 1 win in 4 for them. 42% form as well. Last round at the City Ground was a 1-0 win for Luton. That was back in March 2021. Of course, Forest picked up a 1-1 draw against Reading. QPR picked up a 2-0 win over Luton last round. Look at the odds on this one as well. We got what we got here. We got Nottingham Forest 5-4 for the victory. 2-5 is your away win. That's Luton Town. 9-4 is your draw. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Forest, and let's get back to winning ways. Reading up against Sheffield United, of course. I've hit the wrong button bloody there. Let's get back here. So Reading up against Sheffield United on Tuesday night at the Matchday, of course. Now these two sides have played each other 31 times since 1994. 12 wins for Reading, 14 wins for Sheffield United, of course. 5 wins, 5 draws, of course. Reading coming to just 1 win in 6, 25% form. Up against Sheffield United, just 1 win in 6 for them, 33% form as well. Of course, Reading did lose to Sheffield United last time round, of course, in the Matchday. That's back in March 2021 or 2020 in the FA Cup. However, last time they played each other in the league at the Matchday was a 2-0 win for Sheffield United. In fact, Sheffield United won 2, 3, 4, 5 of the bouts against Reading, of course, in all competitions. Meanwhile, Reading did draw with Forest last time round. Sheffield United also drew with Coventry last round. Look at the odds. 50-14-5 is your Reading, goes 12-5 is your draw. Even Stevens is your Sheffield United on this one. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw on this one. Point split right down the middle. Next up, we have the game of the day. And of course, we will have a watch along. It is Blackburn Rovers taking on Peterborough, of course, and we will be here in deepest, darkest Georgia. I don't know if we'll be in a car or if we'll be out back or wherever we'll be, but we'll make something work, of course. Anyway, played the 5 times 2009, 4 wins for Rovers, 1 for Peterborough, 0 draws, of course. Rovers coming to just 1 defeat in the past 4 games. We don't want to talk about that. 58 wins, 58% for them, of course. Meanwhile, Peterborough without a win in 4, 3 defeats. Of course, 1 draw as well. Of course, last time around, Rovers picked up a 3-1 win at over Peterborough back in League One. That was back in April 2018. Of course, Rovers comes to the back of that draw against Bristol City. Of course, Peterborough did lose to Stoke 2-0 last time around. Look at the odds on this one. Rovers 20-13 on. They are your favourites. 14-5 is your draw. 19-4 is your away win. That's Peterborough on this one. Going with a 3-0 win for Rovers and some goals in this one. And hopefully goals for Rovers as well. Next up, of course, Bristol City. Of course, they're going to be taking on. Who are they going to be taking on? They're going to be taking on. Are they? Bristol City taking on Stoke. Of course they bloody are. It's the awkward one. There's always one, isn't there? I have to fanny around and try and dig around here. So Bristol City taking on Stoke. That's on Wednesday night, of course. Now these two sides have played each other, according to my eyes, 13 times. Of course, 6 wins to Bristol City, 5 wins to Stoke, 2 draws. Of course, Bristol City comes to just 1 win in the past 6 games, 25% form for them right now. Up against Stoke, unbeaten the last 4 games. We get 3 wins in the bounce, of course. Last time at Bristol City, aka Thrashton Gate, 2-0 win for Stoke. The home side hasn't won this game since Bristol City beat Stoke back in 2017 in the EFL Cup. Of course, City picked up a draw against Rovers. Last time Stoke picked up a 2-0 win over Peterborough. Of course, got basic odds on this one going for favour of Stoke. They are your favourites on here. I'm going to go with a 1-0 win for Bristol City. Believe in the Bristol City on this one. Next up, of course, we have Cardiff City up against Hull City. Both sides come to the back of wins, and now they've played each other, according to my eyes, 20 times since 2005. 8 wins apiece and 4 draws. Of course, Cardiff come to this 2 wins on the bounce, 42% form for them right now. Of course, up against Hull City, 2 wins on the bounce, 33% form for them right now as well. Last time, of course, over in Wales was a 3-0 win for Cardiff. That was back in July 2020. Of course, Cardiff picked up a 2-1 win over Preston. Of course, Hull picked up a 2 win over Birmingham last time. Look at the odds on this one. Even Stevens is for your Cardiff, 14-5 is your away win, and of course 12-5 is your draw. Going to go with a 2 win though for Cardiff on this one at home. And of course, to make it 3 wins on the bounce, and of course, then start to believe again for for Cardiff. Next up, of course, we have Barnsley. They're going to take on Swansea over at Oakwell. Of course, bit of a rough patch right now. Barnsley, they're in trouble. Of course, played each other 17 times 2005. Just 1 for Barnsley, 9 wins for Swansea, and 7 draws. Of course, Barnsley competition just 1 win and 6 for them. 17% form up against Swansea side. Just 1 defeat of the past 4 games. 58% form. Last time, of course, over in Oakwell was a 1 win for Swansea. That was back in May 2021 in the playoffs. However, last time played each other in actual league action, normal league action, was a 2 win for Swansea. In fact, Swansea hasn't lost against Barnsley in a long time. We're going all the way back to 2006. It was a League One playoff final where, of course, Barnsley were victorious. Of course, Barnsley picked up a loss against Fulham last round. Swansea drew with Blackpool. Look at the odds on this one: 2-1. Barnsley 11-8 on issue. Of course, Swansea 23-10 issue draw. Going to go with a draw here, 1-1 right to the middle. Of course, I think they've got new manager, Birmingham. I think Barnsley. Of course, I think they will get a bit of a bounce on here. Next up is Millwall up against Bournemouth, of course, down at the Den. Of course, played each other 14 times, 6-7 wins for Millwall, 5 wins for Bournemouth, and 2 draws. Of course, Millwall competition, 1 defeat the past 6 games, 67% form. Up against Bournemouth, just 1 win and 3 for them at the moment. A bit of a rough patch right now, 67% form for them as well. Of course, Millwall did lose to Bournemouth last time around in the Den. That was back in April 2021. Millwall picked up a draw against Middlesbrough last time around. Of course, Bournemouth did lose to Derby last round, 3-2 loss, of course. So look at the odds on this one then, shall we? Go in favour probably of Bournemouth, 23-20 for the victory is your 18, 30-5 is your hosts, and 23-10 is your draw. I'm going to go with the 2-0 for Bournemouth with back to winning ways, and of course keep the dream alive for automatics. And then finally it's QPR up against Huddersfield. That's of course on Wednesday as well. Now these two sides have played each other 21 times since 1996, 7 wins for QPR, 8 wins for Huddersfield, and 6 draws. Of course, QPR coming to unbeaten last 4 games, 50% form for them right now up against Huddersfield. Just 1 defeat the last 4 games, so then 50% form as well. Of course, last time at Loftus Road was a 1 win for Huddersfield. That's back in March 2021. In fact, Huddersfield 3 games, 3 wins and 3 clean sheets over QPR in the last 3 games. Of course, QPR picked up a 2-1 win over Luton last time. Huddersfield picked up a 1 over West Brom last time. Look at the odds on this one, going in favour of QPR, 20-19 on for the victory. 3-1 is your away win, and 5-2 is your draw. Going to go with a 3-2 win, goals galore on this one, going in favour of QPR. That's my picks, of course, for this coming match day. Of course, they're coming at you pretty fast, so make sure you get your picks in as well using the code right here, Cup4/Championship, to get in amongst it. But that, my friends, is just about that. Be sure to give the video some love, smash your thumbs up, smash your subscribe, check the links down below on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and of course Patreon as well. But until then, guys, I'll see you soon for the next one, whenever that is. But until then, we are done.